Hello, and thanks for taking the time to watch the Registration and Housing webinar for ITF 2026. We're excited to spend some time diving into many ITF procedures and policies, and I hope that you'll leave this session with extra helpful tips. My name is Taylor Davis, and I'm the engagement coordinator. My job is all things registration and housing, and I'm honored to bring you this information. Should you leave this webinar with any additional questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us at events@schooltheater.org. And don't worry, I promise I'll come back to that again later. For now, let's kick off ITF 2026 registration with the wonderful individuals who helped bring us all together, adult leaders. Beginning in 2025, ITF shifted the language around chaperones. You'll hear us refer to primary adult leaders and adult leaders. The primary adult leader, formerly known as primary contact, is the adult who will be serving as the main contact for a registration group. They have several pre-event and on-site responsibilities that we'll dig further into shortly. Keeping it short and sweet, we'll refer to these adults as PALs from here on out. Adult leaders, aka chaperones, are vital to the success of ITF and assist PALs in ensuring their students have an engaging, successful, and safe week at ITF. A few important notes about adult leaders. All adult leaders must be aged 21 or older as of June 21st, 2026, which is the first day of ITF. All registration groups must have at least one adult leader for every 8 students. This count includes the PAL. The registration guide, which we'll talk more about soon, has a chart with suggested numbers on page 7. This guide is available to download on the How to Register page of the ITF website. A registration group may include non-student adults who are under 21. However, it's important to note that these folks do not count toward the 1-to-8 ratio. PALs have a specific set of responsibilities both before and during ITF. Full details can be found on the PALs responsibility page, which is available under the attendees menu on the ITF website. I'll mention some of the big ones here. Before registering, PALs are responsible for reviewing all registration guidelines, collecting attendee information, and completing the registration forms. Great news, you are already on your way just by watching this webinar. In 2025, the ITF team introduced information selection sheets for adult, student, and groups. These forms continue in 2026 and are available in the ITF registration guide beginning on page 19. You are not required or asked to submit these forms to ITF. Rather, we recommend printing multiple copies of each form and providing them to adult attendees and students' parents or guardians for completion and return to you. Every field on these forms will appear on at least one registration form. Some fields may only apply to certain kinds of attendees, and we'll cover more about this shortly. After registering, the role of the PAL really kicks into gear. PALs are responsible for receiving and replying to communications, arranging payment and travel and on-site presence, housing, ensuring required forms are completed, completing a safety training, and encouraging student participation. On site, PALs are responsible for completing both the housing and registration check-in processes. All adult leaders step up to supervise their students, which, in turn, supports the safety and well-being of all attendees. Now that we know a bit more about adult leaders and their role at ITF, let's dig into the details of registration fees and policies. This info is also available on the registration guide. I'll reference specific pages a few times, so I highly recommend having the document open in another window if possible. As a reminder, the guide is available to download in PDF format via the How to Register page on the ITF website. You'll find that page under Attendees on the blue navigation bar. I mentioned earlier that attendees are required to complete certain forms. Page 7 of the registration guide provides the form details, the who, what, and when. In 2025, we introduced a way for PALs to track which forms had or had not been completed for their group. This process will continue in 2026. Instructions for how to access the roster with form statuses are available on this slide and will also be included in the PAL confirmation email sent shortly after registering. The following forms can be tracked in the Attendee Service Center: background checks and health and consent forms, THESPI adjudication forms, college audition submissions, campus housing forms, and adult leader training. There are 3 different form statuses you may see. If the form status is blank, this means the form is incomplete or it does not apply to the individual. For example, a student that is under 18 may have a blank status in the background check column. We'll be using not applicable or in/A as the status where a certain form does not apply. We'll be adding this status as frequently as possible. Another example, any attendee who is registered with an activities pass will eventually have in/A in the campus housing form column, since that form does not apply to them. Once a form is complete, the status will be changed to yes. It is important to note that form statuses are audited and updated manually. We will be updating regularly, but PALs should expect some delays between when the completion of a form is done and when the status is updated. We'll also be sending various form reminders via email. The cadences of these reminders may vary depending on the type of form and its due date. There are a few different registration types and fees available. Check out pages 8 and 9 of the registration guide for more details. I'll make some special notes about registration types here. All-inclusive passes and activities passes both include access to all standard ITF programming. Add-ons are available for both students and adults. The only difference between these 2 passes is housing and meals. All-inclusive passes include residence hall housing and a dining hall meal plan. Activities passes do not include housing or meals. Activities pass attendees must book at one of our host hotels and may purchase meals anywhere on campus. It is important to note that IU is a cashless campus. The one-day performance pass is new in 2026 and is specifically available to non-member adults who wish to attend at least one day of ITF, but not the entire event. It includes access to all standard ITF programming on the day or days selected during registration. It does not include housing or a meal plan and requires a reservation at one of our host hotels. An add-on activity is a special program that requires advanced registration and, in some cases, an additional fee. These are outlined on page 9 of the registration guide. Student programs include THESPIs and college auditions, which both require a fee selected at the time of registration and an additional form. Adults also have access to the Educator Appreciation Dinner. This is an add-on specifically for educators and administrators. There is no additional cost. However, you must select the add-on at the time of registration as space is limited. Seats are available on a first-come, first-served basis. Pages 10 through 12 of the guide outline a variety of important details. Registration policies such as payment, cancellations and substitutions, discount codes, quotes, and scholarships. Here are a few important notes about these sections. In 2026, attendees can select one of 3 payment types. Balance due allows you to submit now and pay later. You can also use this method to request a quote. Credit card is available at the time of registration or later in the attendee service center. Attendees should expect to provide the credit card number, expiration date, name on the card, CVV code, and billing address. ITF is able to accept Visa, MasterCard, American Express, and Discover. New in 2026, we are able to offer e-check, also known as ACH, which can be used at the time of registration or later in the attendee service center. Please expect to provide the routing and account numbers, the account type, either checking or savings, the name of the banking institution, and the name of the account holder. We understand that some school systems require vendor signatures on purchase orders. If that is the case for you, please email your PO to events@schooltheater.org. We are not able to accept POs via mail or fax. Our signature on a PO does not consider the payment deadline met. All checks must be made payable to International Thespian Festival, not Educational Theater Association. If you need help getting ITF set up as a vendor, let us know how we can assist by emailing us at events@schooltheater.org. If you're in search of financial assistance, scholarship applications are open January 1st through March 1st, 2026. Recipients will be notified by March 25th. As mentioned previously, there are two types of housing available to ITF attendees, residence halls and host hotels. These details are on pages 12 through 14 of the guide. Residence halls are used to house all-inclusive attendees. We won't have our specific building assignments from IU until later, but you can expect a variety of room and bathroom styles. A few special notes about residence hall housing. All PALs are required to submit a campus housing form on behalf of their group. This provides ITF with roommate assignments and accessibility needs for the group. This form must be completed after everyone in the group is registered. Otherwise, it is considered invalid and will be canceled. Please do not submit this form before you have completed your registration. Most beds are twin XL sized and lofted approximately 4 feet off the ground. It is critical for PALs to indicate any accessibility needs on the campus housing form, including requests to lower a lofted bed. ITF is required to submit requests to lower beds well in advance of the event. ITF is not able to accommodate requests for specific building assignments, and we are not able to guarantee that separate registration groups will be housed together. If your group must be housed with another group, whether it's based on district requirements, travel accommodations, or other needs, the groups must be registered together as a single group under one PAL. You'll find details about assigning roommates for your group on page 13 of the guide. I want to specifically note a few things. Based on ITF and IU policies, we are required to divide residence hall floors according to a gender binary in all buildings with shared occupancy bathrooms. We understand that not all attendees align with either masculine or feminine gender roles. PALs are encouraged to assign attendees to whichever floor they feel most comfortable. The housing form will provide space to note any privacy concerns, but PALs are not required to disclose any information regarding attendee gender when it comes to housing assignments. Some buildings may have single occupancy bathrooms, either shared across the floor or fully private. Floors may not be divided by gender in these buildings. In prior years, students who did not have a predetermined roommate in their group may have been assigned to room with a student from another school. This policy was eliminated in 2025. ITF will not randomly assign roommates across registration groups. If you have an even number of students but need to guarantee single occupancy housing for one or more students, please email events@schooltheater.org for assistance. And please note additional fees may apply. Students and adults are not permitted to share rooms. Romantic partners are not permitted to share rooms. PALs should avoid such pairings to the best of their ability. Adults will be housed in single occupancy rooms. ITF attendees registered with activities passes or one-day performance passes must reserve space in one of our host hotels. Information about each property is available on the Housing and Transportation page of the ITF website. Here are some key facts about hotel reservations. Reservations can be made at the time of registration or afterward in the Attendee Service Center. We highly recommend making reservations during registration, as using the Attendee Service Center requires you to have the login credentials for the specific attendee. PALs are not able to make or edit hotel reservations on behalf of their entire group in the Attendee Service Center. Hotel reservations require credit card to hold the room. Payment will not be processed until after the conclusion of your stay. Payments will ultimately be made directly to the hotel. Therefore, ITF is not able to provide quotes, invoices, or receipts for hotel stays. Please do not contact hotels prior to the May 13th reservation cutoff date. They will not have your reservation information before that time. I mentioned in the PALS responsibilities section that groups are responsible for organizing event-related transportation. Here are some helpful information about organizing how to get to and from ITF. If you are flying to ITF, travel through the Indianapolis International Airport, which is approximately a 1-hour drive from Bloomington. ITF partners with Go Express to offer discounted shuttle and private charter services. Discount details are available on the transportation page of the website, and the discount code is provided in your confirmation email. We recommend booking your transportation as early as possible to ensure availability. In years past, shuttles have sold out. You will have to provide a drop-off spot as part of your registration. This may seem tricky if you're staying in the residence halls. We recommend picking McNutt Quadrangle as a placeholder. If your campus housing assignment email notes a different shuttle stop, you can adjust your reservation with Go Express anytime before your reservation date. If you have a smaller registration group, it may be cost-effective to rent a car instead. There are a variety of car rental services available within the airport. If you'll have a car on site, here are some parking details. If staying in the residence halls, you'll be able to get a parking pass when checking in. Your hall assignment email will include the specific details you'll need to supply. We request that you indicate on your housing form if you will need a parking pass. This helps us provide an estimated count to IU. If staying at the hotels, each hotel will have their own parking rates. If you choose to drive on campus, parking is at your own cost. ITF is unable to validate parking. To get around campus, ITF will have shuttles that prioritize individuals with accessibility needs. Shuttle access is not guaranteed. You may indicate at the time of registration if an individual requires shuttle priority access for accessibility purposes. Other important notes. Ticketing has its own dedicated page on the ITF website as well as on page 15 of the registration guide. It is important to note that ticketing windows will be assigned based on registration date and time. If there are certain shows you know you want tickets to, we encourage you to register early to ensure an earlier selection window. Pro tip, only the PAL needs to be registered to lock in the date and time for ticketing windows. Register yourself now and add others later as needed. If you have one or more students who aren't able to attend in person but want to participate in thespies or college auditions, these students should be registered using the virtual programs form. Virtual programs requires payment via credit card at the time of registration. The virtual programs registration form must be completed by an adult. The adult should log in with their EDTA account and then click Search Again to instead find the student's record and begin the registration process. If you have both in-person and virtual attendees, they must be registered separately. Complete all registrations and then email events@schooltheater.org to ensure the virtual participants are linked to your in-person registration group. Do you have a Thespi group where some students are in person and some are virtual only? The Thespi can be presented virtually for all students. Please email events@schooltheater.org for registration guidance. Additionally, there are a variety of volunteer opportunities available at ITF. Please check out the volunteer interest form for more details. This form is available on the ITF website under the About section on the blue navigation bar. The step-by-step instructions for registration are found on page 17 of the guide. Here are a few final tips when it comes to completing your registration. The registration process is designed to be completed by the PAL. If any other adult is completing your registration for any reason, follow the instructions on page 18 of the guide for how to approach the process. After the PAL, we highly recommend adding all adults and then all students to the registration. A number of PALs in the past have told us that this method helps them keep organized and ensure that everyone is included. The registration form will not save your progress or cart. A registration must be reviewed and submitted in the final steps. We understand that you may not have time to register everyone at once, and that's okay. If that's the case for you, we recommend registering yourself as the PAL and submitting. From there, you can log into the Attendee Service Center, click Manage Group Registration, and click Add Additional Attendees. You can use this process to add additional attendees over time, and there is no limit to the number of times you can make additions. So, what comes next? First and foremost, let us know how we can help you. We're available via email, text, or phone at the details provided on this slide. And registration is open now. So go ahead and start organizing, register early, and please let us know how we can support you. Thank you so much for checking out this webinar. We can't wait to see you at ITF 2026.